Soufflés can feel like one of the most challenging things you make in the kitchen, but we decided we're going to add just a little bit extra to it.
And today on WTF, we're going to show you how to use VersaWhip to make a freestanding soufflé and all of its accompaniments. Hello and welcome to WTF, where we transform food here in the Modernist Pantry Test Kitchen. I'm Chef Scott Guerin.
And I'm Janie Wang, one of the owners of Modernist Pantry. And here on WTF every week, Scott and I, we talk about unique ingredients, techniques, show you new recipes to get you excited about doing something a little different in your kitchen. So if you like what you see, remember comment, subscribe, ring the bell, and you'll get notified of our content. It comes out every single Tuesday. And this week, instead of focusing, I think, on one particular ingredient, we're actually going to be talking about really a technique and something that I think that's kind of challenging for a lot of home cooks and even maybe some chefs as well to do in the kitchen, which is making a souffle, which, as we all know, you got to do it immediately or it collapses on you. And what we decided to do is actually do a Modernist Pantry take on the souffle, and it's going to be a little different because it's going to be freestanding, meaning it's not in like a little bowl. So Scott's going to really take you step by step through how we're going to do it and explain, like what the magic is behind how do you make a freestanding souffle. Take it away, Scott.
All right. So we did a few different things, and we wanted to come up with a different way to do a souffle. Yes, there's souffles always go into a dish. They rise up. They're always beautiful, but you're on the clock. When they come out of the oven, yeah, they have a few minutes, and even with this one, you have just about 10 minutes before it starts to really deflate on you. So when you're making a souffle, you want to have the method down pat. You want to have your meringue and your base completely down pat. And this is the easiest souffle that we have ever made, and this method works extremely well, so much so that we can make a freestanding souffle, and we'll explain a lot more on how we actually did that.
Okay.
But for this, I wanted to show you how easy it is to make a souffle, because souffle sometimes, especially to home cooks, can be like, oh, that's something that you only see in restaurants, and there's got to be a lot of time-consuming, really difficult things that you have to do to make a souffle. So what we have here is a base. Now this is a small amount. This is about 80 grams. But what we did is we took 500 grams of blood orange juice, and you can use any juice. If you can't find blood oranges to juice on your own, you can just use regular orange juice. That's absolutely fine. Or you can use whatever flavor you want. We chose blood orange. So we took that and we mixed in 50 grams of just cornstarch. Mix that together, heat it up until it comes to a boil, and let it sit. And you can keep this base for days, and this is your flavor base of your souffle. The only other thing is going to be the meringue. So really quickly, I'm just going to intensify the flavor with a few orange flavor drops. For this, use between 7 and 10, just because this makes about 4 souffles. And you'll say, how is this going to make about 4 souffles? It's because we're going to add in our meringue. And our meringue here has an ingredient in it called VersaWhip. Now VersaWhip will allow you to make a meringue out of any liquid. But what we did here is we took VersaWhip and we added it to a traditional egg white meringue. And this I did maybe 5 to 10 minutes beforehand, and you can see how stable our meringue still is to this point.
It really is.
It's still holding a stiff peak as it's been sitting here. So let's just say you are doing a dinner party, right? And you want to be able to go out and kind of schmooze with your friends while you're also making dinner. And if you want to do a meringue, you like how I snuck schmooze in there? All right. So if you want to be able to go back and forth and do these things, this is going to help your meringue to stay nice and at stiff peaks. And also, as the cooking process happens, it's going to help hold on to that light airiness. So I took 80 grams of our flavor base. Remember, it's just a flavorful liquid, some flavor drops, and cornstarch. We can all do that at home very simply. And then we're just going to fold in some of our meringue, our super stable meringue with VersaWhip. So I'm just going to put in a little bit to start. Now, some people feel like, oh, you can't beat out any of the air. So with this first one, we can. You can even use a whisk on this. So we're just wanting to kind of dilute that flavor base into the meringue. With this first little bit, you can beat it up really well, and you can see that VersaWhip's actually helping it hold on. Like you could make, a souffle out of that.
It doesn't look deflated at all.
No. So then I'm going to add in the rest, and with this last little bit, I am going to fold it in because I do want to hold on to as much as I possibly can. But it's that simple. This is basically, once I do a few folds of this, you have souffle base. The souffle base doesn't have to have flour in it, doesn't have to have all these extra things. It's very simple. So just a few. We played around with a few different things, you know, flavoring the meringue 2 different ways and everything, but we found that one solid meringue with a really nice flavor in it worked the best for us. Now with this, putting it into a piping bag, and then you put it into a ring mold that is lined with baking paper that has a little bit of cornstarch and butter on it. You can see all of this on our Instagram. We did a complete breakdown of just this souffle method, and then the entire recipe for everything that's going to be on this dish is on our blog. So you can see exactly how we are able to make this. But if I was able to take this, right, and then put it into our ring mold, cook it inside that almost like a casing of the paper, and then once it comes out, we're able to peel off that paper, and we have a beautiful souffle, right? You can see how well that VersaWhip helps it hold on to that air. So I'm just going to move this out of the way here, and we have our plate. So we're going to show you just a basic plating of how we made this. So this on the plate already is a blood orange and ancho reyes cured. Ancho reyes is a liqueur. It's like ancho and orange, and it's a really nice, super smoky. And then the blood orange juice that we added to is just a very small amount, just to make like a really kind of deeply complex flavor. So we want to complement all those flavors that are in the blood orange. Then we have our souffle here. So our souffle that comes out. We want to peel back the curtain a little bit, Janie.
Do you want? Let's peel back the curtain.
Let's peel back the curtain.
TV magic.
Yeah. So if we did make the souffle ahead of time, yes, by the time we were able to get it on here, it would deflate. It takes about 10 minutes before it starts to deflate, and we really want to kind of show just how the plating is going to look. So this would usually be done really quickly, not with a lot of talking. So this right here is a stand-in here. Everything that you see on our Instagram is fully the souffle itself, and the pictures and everything are the actual souffle. This is a nice stand-in for what we're doing here. I think that's totally fine. So we went with a kind of a nose-to-tail approach with our blood oranges. So we used every part of the blood orange itself. The rind went into these comfy rinds. We comfied all the rinds, and then we took them and we added some of the juice to the curd. We did the rinds here. The juice went into the souffle itself, and then we also did a sorbet with the rinds. And the tuile is made of some of the pureed rinds as well. So we used every part of the blood orange that we possibly could.
Okay. And what's this sitting on down here?
So that's the ancho reyes and blood orange curd.
Okay.
So and there's a little cake on the bottom. So that's a chocolate cake and cardamom. And we compress it down so it makes like a really kind of dense chocolate layer. So as you cut through this, you get one kind of deep, rich, roasty bit that goes really well with the ancho reyes. So we have a little tuile here to set right on top, and this does work on the souffle. So maybe use a little spoon here to get this out. We have our sherbet. It's kind of frozen to it. And then finally, just another piece of our tuile right on top. And we have a really beautiful dish that uses all the parts of a blood orange and a technique that is not seen often. We don't think we've ever seen it before, but we made a really fun thing, and it's all due to the stability that we get from that VersaWhip when we add it to the egg whites.
Yeah, and if you've never seen VersaWhip before, it is a modified soy protein, and there's an episode we did all about VersaWhip. You can get that in the link in the description below, as well as this full recipe. And I guess that brings me to a question of, if someone were to attempt a freestanding souffle, but they don't want to add the VersaWhip? Is it possible?
It is possible. Following our method, it is possible. It's just that the VersaWhip is kind of like a backbone to it. It really kind of helps hold it up and really helps, with that stability all the way through. So if you want to try it without the VersaWhip, you can. Just know that the VersaWhip will help it stay up for a lot longer.
Yeah, and you can do this in any flavor, right? So you can do like a chocolate souffle, whatever traditional souffle.
You can even add it to a regular souffle that isn't freestanding, and it's just going to help hold on to that head a lot longer.
Yeah, so which is a really great benefit. And I also see here we have some of our PerfectaGel here. What was this used in?
We threw it out there so I didn't forget about it, and I did. So it's actually in the curd itself. So a little bit in the curd, and that's why we put it. We take a really cold plate, and we put the curd on, and we set the curd right on the plate itself, so it's not moving around, not free flowing or anything like that. So you can carry it around and do it ahead of time. So yeah, there is some of our PerfectaGel Silver in there just to hold, kind of set that curd onto the plate.
Yeah, and we really love the souffle because often here in the test kitchen sometimes we do things that are like purely functional and make your life easier. Things will save you like time and effort and food waste. But then every once in a while, I think we like doing something that has that wow factor really. And this is something where I personally have never seen a freestanding souffle before we worked on it. And if you were to bring this out, I think people would just be like, "How did you do that? Oh my God, I can't believe it!" It definitely has that ability to just show that like it's going to be very memorable, right?
Yeah, and we want to do advanced recipes too. So something like this is very advanced, just to show how, like, kind of stress test these ingredients, see how well they can perform under kind of the pressure of no sides holding up this souffle, and it worked really well. So
yeah, so give it a shot. Check out the full video of how it's done. Try it yourself. Give us your comments, questions. We love hearing from you. And if you do anything, tag us on social media as well. And from here in the Modernist Pantry Test Kitchen, I'm Janie Wang.
And I'm Scott Gowing. Thank you so much for watching. And if you haven't already, like, comment, and subscribe. And hit that bell so you get notified when we drop a new video.
To get today's recipes and all of our recipes, remember to go to blog.modernistpantry.com where you'll get recipes, ask a chefs, tips and tricks, and more.
And if you haven't already, tell a friend so they know what's going on here at WTF.
And as always, to get any of the ingredients you saw today, you can go to modernistpantry.com to shop.
And until next time, we'll be here in the test kitchen helping you create memorable and magical experiences.